Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mighty Ride Junkies. Today, we will be covering probably one of the most anticipated lands ever, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now, before we get into the rides, I wanted to go over some key parts in the history for the land and all the drama that was behind it. Now, if you're a huge Harry Potter fan like myself, then you already know Warner Brothers owns the rights to the Harry Potter films. What you might not know was that Universal Studios almost originally had those rights. In between the book releases of Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban, Universal and Warner Brothers both contacted the series author, J.K. Rowling, about the rights to the stories. Universal Studios believed it had won when it was learned they had offered a larger sum to Rowling than Warner Brothers did. However, Universal Studios is notoriously known for when they own something, they completely own it. Meaning, an author couldn't say or do anything if they didn't approve of the script or the final product. Warner Brothers, however, was letting Rowling have that right. She would give the final approval of all screenplays and even influence some casting decisions. When Universal learned of this, they were very bitter about losing to Warner Brothers. That was until 2001. Warner Brothers had realized they didn't have the space to create a theme park area after its attempt at a walkthrough attraction in their own studio. In 2003, rumors started circulating that Warner Brothers was looking to lease out certain rights to make a theme park attraction. Warner Brothers' neighbor, Universal Studios Hollywood, immediately showed interest. But so did another juggernaut company, Disney. And boy, did Disney come in aggressively. So much so that rumors started circulating that Disneyland would be constructing a Harry Potter land since Universal Studios Hollywood didn't have the space to build such a land. And Warner Brothers came in like a sledgehammer and completely demolished this rumor. The main reason? They didn't want to be in breach of their contract with J.K. Rowling. You see, the stipulation was whenever an outside company wanted to do something with the films, they had to go to Rowling first for approval. Ironically, Disney came in like Universal Studios once did and offered a huge sum of money for complete theme park rights. Disney, however, didn't want to work with Rowling because they felt like she was requiring too much to go through her. History has a funny way of repeating itself, and like Warner Brothers, Universal Studios came in with a lower sum of money for theme park rights, but gave Rowling complete reign to approve and deny certain things. Once Rowling was happy with what Universal was planning, they now had to convince their former rival, Warner Brothers, for the rights. With another sum of money, royalties, and expectations to name a few, the biggest concern was Warner Brothers was putting a minimal square feet requirement for the Wizarding World. They didn't want Universal to just make one ride due to space when Disney could have developed an entire land. Terms were finally agreed, and Universal chose to put the Wizarding World in Orlando because of the actual space it had. Now, the Hollywood Park was always planning to have a Wizarding World, but because of its space, they wanted to make sure that the Wizarding World was a success before they invested in closing down certain areas of their Hollywood Park to develop a Harry Potter Wizarding World in Hollywood. And after 4 years of massive success, beyond anything Universal could have imagined at their Orlando Park, and the opening of an expansion that same year, Universal finally announced that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter was coming to Hollywood. After some setbacks and long anticipation, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter finally opened in Hollywood on April 7, 2016. In it were themed restaurants, themed food, and 1,000 different items to purchase to show your loyalty to your house. The replica of Hogsmeade and Hogwarts also held 2 rides that we are going to get into right now. The first ride was a family roller coaster called Flight of the Hippogriff. You board the ride and pass by a hippogriff, which I can only assume is Buckbeak, who would bow towards you to let you know his approval to get on his back before moving up the lift. The coaster would take you down approximately 1,099 feet of track at about 30 miles per hour and clocks in at just over a minute. This is definitely one of the better family roller coasters out there. It's not that intense to scare the little ones, but it's good enough where you won't find yourself bored on the ride. However, personally, I wouldn't wait longer than 15 minutes for it. Now onto the ride with the coolest and most technologically advanced aspects I've ever seen on a ride: Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Mixing dark ride with motion simulator, you'll find yourself traveling down a track that mixes real environments with digital screens. You'll find yourself running from a dragon, playing Quidditch, running from the Dementors, and even entering the Chamber of Secrets, to name a few of the Harry Potter highlights that this ride has. The ride length is 4 minutes and 6 seconds, which does cause a fairly average wait time of anywhere between 45 and 75 minutes, but you won't be bored. Once inside the castle, you'll feel like you're actually at Hogwarts. Portraits will keep you entertained while they conversate among themselves, and even some of the original cast will stop by, including Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Even an up-close look at the Sorting Hat that will actually talk to you. This ride has some of the most amazing technological aspects I've ever seen, if I haven't said that already. This is 100% a ride you must do when going to the park, whether you're a Harry Potter fan or not. And that wraps up the Universal Studios Hollywood Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I know some of you are probably wondering when I'm going to talk about Diagon Alley. I actually have a lot of information on that, but because it's not at the Hollywood park, I will either be discussing it when I ever get to covering the Orlando park, or if Hollywood ever decides to go about that expansion. But in the meantime, if you want to learn more about Universal Studios Hollywood, please check the past videos, or if you're just waiting for a different park altogether, please subscribe and leave a comment down below. When I return, I will be discussing one of my favorite events that happens probably in any theme park in the country. Stay tuned.